What is the difference between thought and fantasy? Thought and fantasy are two different mental processes produced by the human mind. Both processes can be consciously controlled, but there are some important differences between them. Thought. Thought is the process of processing ideas and concepts related to the real world. Through thought, we try to understand and make sense of the world around us. Thought includes processes such as logic, reasoning, and analysis. Fantasy. Fantasy is the process of generating ideas and images that are not related to the real world. Through fantasy, we can produce new and creative ideas by using our imagination. Fantasy includes processes such as creativity, imagination, and visualization. Differences. The main differences between thought and fantasy are: thought is about the real world, fantasy may not be about the real world. Thought involves processes such as logic and reasoning, while fantasy includes processes such as imagination and visualization. Thought is generally controllable, fantasy less so. Example: a student solving a math problem is an example of thinking. The student will use logic and reasoning processes to understand and solve the problem. An author writing a new story is an example of fantasy. The writer will create the characters, events, and settings of the story using imagination. Conclusion. Thought and fantasy are two important mental processes produced by the human mind. Both processes are important for individual and social development.